I will stop my screen, my sharing screen. And Nina, and now there will be the AMBIT presentation. Nina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nelly, and hello everybody. I have a kind of non-standard presentation because I'm aware that online training is difficult, but we now have a way to follow our guides and provide feedback at the same time. So I invite all of you to go to the Google form, which is in the chat. The link is in the chat. I will present it on the screen in parallel with the website itself. And it contains screenshots. But also you could provide your answers, which are usually very simple, or it's free texts just to have an indication whether the exercise succeeds. We don't gather emails, we don't gather any personal information. This is purely to have your feedback on this interface, which is very new, and you could feel like a part of the design team because you'll be testing a very recent web page for searching. So we really want to have your feedback. Again, we don't gather any personal information. You don't need to be logged in. So please go to the form and follow the instructions. And I'll go with the form and the instruction in parallel to you. I hope everybody has access to the URL or to the web address in the chat. This is what we are going to use. And if we are all set, I show the form. We decided not to show the full AMBIT interface with read across. Maybe we may have some time for predictions. But what we are going to test through this guide is a novel search interface, which works also for structures or substances which are not necessarily discrete substances, and we could.
Sorry, Nina, yeah. You don't share a screen.
I'm not sharing screen, right?
No,
that's not good. That's not good. What about now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much.
And if I switch the tab, does it work? Do you see now the browser also?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can safely switch between the tabs. Okay, so the first thing is to go to the website. The URI address is in the form, and you need to log in. I'll also copy here in. Okay, so this is the web address of AMBIT 3. And the forms with the guidance, I'm sending it again in the chat. And please, if somebody could help if with resending the forms address if it's needed.
Sorry. Okay. We can see now. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure if everybody in the room is logged in or how this works. Okay, so the first thing is to go to the web address and you need to log in. I'm going here with the web page and log in. You could log in with your own user if you had AMBIT 2 previous user, but you could log in with a user which is now used for the workshop only, and the user is workshop and the password is AMBIT 2. Which is also written in the guide. If you succeed with this login, all the details are written right here. So if you follow the form, you'll see how you can log in. You could log in with your own user as well. You could also the free registration option. The reason of login is that by login, you basically accept the license that data is distributed, and that's most important for the rich dossiers, which are not public license, but have some legalese, which is also written on the IDEAC site. So let's go for the next exercise. You saw the main screen which appear. You could always go back to this main screen by clicking on the home button, and you shall see something like this. What we ask here is if this works. You could safely leave answer not answered, but it will be nice to have some feedback. So when this is ready, we go to the next section of the form. And here we have exercise describing what is the main search page. I hope this is seen enough. Okay. We have, we'll go through the fields during this presentation. This is, the aim is to have a very simple Google-like interface where you enter free text. So the example here is you just type per fluoro and leave everything else untouched. And then when pressing enter, you'll have a list of substances. So this is what I'm going to do right now. Not in Cyrillic. And this is what we see. We search all the rich dossiers, including multi-constituent. So this is over 25,000 substances. We also have open food talks and REBDOS integrated, and soon there will be EPA comp talks. This might not make a lot of structures at the moment, but there is a lot of data. You could see the statistics and the front page. Okay.
Sorry if I interrupt you, but from the chat, someone have difficulties to log in. The form does not allow me to put in any username.
Okay, the form. You should not log into the form. You should go to the AMBIT LRI. The form is just a guidance. So you log in to the AMBIT site. The form is just a guidance for the exercises. If maybe I didn't explain this is the form where this is basically instructions for the exercises. You log in here. So I'll go outside. And if you go to AMBIT LRI-DEF IDEAConsult.net, you can log in from here. Is this working now? We prefer Chrome or Firefox. This was not really tested on Edge. So this might be also browser difficulties. Does this answer? No, the phone access for AMBIT LRI, it will work, but it's not optimized. The form actually can work. So I find a nice setup where you open the form on a mobile phone, and we can follow with actual AMBIT site on a desktop. Okay, so let's go for login. I will log in again. Okay, I am logged in. And now I was at the stage of entering the query. And we have a list of substances, starting with a UVCB substance, and we'll go through the page in a second. First, please notice there is this info button leftmost of the substance name, and this is where you could click and see details of the substance. We have exercise for this later. Now I would like to notice that this is free text search. You could use wildcards with stars or phrases, the quotes. So this is exercise to try with different queries and see how the results differ. For example, I'm also showing examples from the form. And if we put the search in quotes, then it shows slightly different hits because this is searching for the exact phrase. Otherwise, it is searching for each of the words. We can also search for let's say essential oil. There are a lot of them in the rich database, actually, a lot of botanics extracts. You could look into them. We could also look for carbon nanotubes. This means multi-vault carbon nanotubes. We have one entry here. We could search for titanium dioxide. This is also part of them are nanomaterials, part are not. There are different entries here for different substances containing titanium dioxide. And of course, we are very welcome to try your own query. What I would go back to first query, and because this is how the exercise is structured, but you could follow the exercises with any query you would like. So you'll just have slightly different results. Okay, next question is to get a little bit of your feedback. So there is a simple question you could write what didn't work. For example, also login doesn't work. This is also an answer. And whether results are expected. So please, any feedback that you have, this is what this form is for, to get us some feedback. Now, next exercise would be to look into the hits and click actually on this green highlighted icon. They are not green on the website. You need to click on the icon, and separate tab with details about this UVCB substance will appear. This is a very standard AMBIT screen. I guess some of you have seen it because this is online. This is the screens for showing details of data in AMBIT has been like this since many years. We have a tab for the substance itself, where it says the substance name, UID, the type of substance, the name and legal entity, unfortunately, are removed from REACH database, I assume for privacy reasons, and CAS and EC numbers, where they exist, are provided. But again, these identifiers are not usually reliable for UVCB substances. For this reason, we have composition you now see for this substance we have two compositions, and we have the constituents with name, gas numbers, EC numbers, and in principle there is a place for concentration, but again for privacy reasons ECHA is removing this in the files provided for public use. In principle, you can click on these links and see the structures. So you're welcome to explore. Then we have 4 tabs for each of the data, which is structured the same way as Euclid is structured. So you see all of the sections which are following OECD harmonized templates, ecotox, fish, and we have the results from the fish test. All the tabs are collapsible, so you could explore. It says in the number how much data is there. Let's go into the FISCAM. We have a lot of FISCAM data. For example, we have a melting point. It says not only the results, some of the results are ranges. This is also how the data is stored in Euclid. It also, of course, it's describes, it says the unit, which guideline, OECD test guideline or another method which is used for measuring, and of course conditions like the pressure. So we can explore all of this data. You're probably aware that these dossiers contain a lot of duplicate data. For example, this differ by how this is measured, and some of them have reliability Climate score assigned. Okay, so same for the toxicity. We have all the data which is provided, which is in the REACH dossier. It's here in the test, in the test study screen. So we go back to the substance search and ask you to answer if this presentation is clear, or maybe it's not clear or confusing. Please enter your comments here so that we work towards improvements. Are there any questions on this? This database is not based only on ECHA-REACH. It's based. We also have Open Food Talks and REPDOS, and soon we'll have APA CompTalks data there. Yes, for there is a filter to specify whether you want to search only within one of these data sets or the entire database. By default, the ECHA-REACH is selected. And yes, we intentionally put links to the EFSA and REPDOS databases. We can show the data ourselves, but this was just for education purposes, that in principle we would like to show the original data, but this is not always possible because a lot of online databases are not designed, at least the user interface, the proper way. The proper way would be if I provide a name for searching for EFSA or REPDOS database. They should allow searching this, and now they only allow to type in the data. So this was now done for educational purposes, that these databases are not following user-friendly design or linkages or fair data principles. And of course, we are going to in a normal use we'll have the same screens as for the rich data.
Sorry if I interrupt you, but it should be better. It would be better to ask and answer the question later before maybe, because I have to stop the recording and then you can answer to all the questions. So thank you.
Oh,
and
okay, okay, okay. Also, I was not aware of this. Sorry, Nelly. Okay, I'll answer then all the questions, but you could also put your questions in the form if you don't like them to be seen or heard now by everybody. They'll still get to us through the web form results. Yeah. Okay, so we return back to the substance page here, and we see here we have this table with colored icons and 10 columns named Q10 to Q100. And the question is, can you guess what these columns mean? So there's a hint actually in the question answer and the drop down. Please select what you would like to respond. A little bit of hint also is in the substance search page where we have been exploring the UVCB substance. We have 4 entries for partition coefficient. They are measured in a slightly different temperature, and the results are pretty close to each other. We have a reliability with restrictions, and they're represented in these columns as in specific column Q70 and Q80 with this icon, which is arrow. Hope it's better seen on the screen. So I go to the next page of the form, where is a description of what these columns means and why we try to design some kind of a high-level overview of the data in the database. There's usually, you see, we have a lot of data in the database, especially with multiple values measured by different methods. It's not easy to understand, to have a overall view on the data there. So we have been looking into some user-friendly way to represent this. We're now introducing a novel graphical presentation of the experimental data. And you might guess at the core of this representation is we split the property ranges into these 10 different ranges, which are percentiles. They are not split into, let's say, equal grids, because you could guess for melting point, we have a lot of data which is below, let's say, 100 degrees Celsius, and many and less on the right side of the median. For these reasons, having a percentile is much better representing of the data. Here we have a graphical representation. This chart is not on the screen. This is for illustration here. This is how we calculate and index the database. And then allow you to explore the data. So this is the cumulative distributions function, and you could see the 50th percentile, which is the median, is somewhere on the very close to the left. This means that if a property is, let's say, somewhere around 60, it will be assigned, it will be displayed in this column Q50. I'm not showing these graphs for all of the properties which in the database. This is to have an illustration. However, you could consider exploring the metadata page, where it is accessible by clicking this question mark here, right here. I'm clicking here. And one can explore all the properties which we now consider in this demo. There are more properties in the database. This is using mostly, you see, we have properties from not only from AMBIT's rich dossiers, but also from other data sets. And besides the units and names, one can explore the ranges for each percentile. So basically, these percentiles are, of course, they are different. The ranges are different for different properties, but having the column as percentiles allow us for a compact representation of the data. And one more explanation is that we have assigned it more or less arbitrarily, according to some resemblance, icons to the properties. And these icons is what you see here in the table. So basically, this means in the column Q80, they are three arrows. They correspond to the three values for the partition coefficient, and here we have another value for the partition coefficient. Okay. So you could explore which property each icon corresponds to. This is simply by clicking here, and you see we have this is the properties identified by this string, and in fact we have this property having data, considering data from both Open Food Talks and Rich dossier, and the ranges could be explored here. Back to the table. Now, what we can also do with the properties, we can filter the data by the properties. For this reason, we have the properties designed in this listed in this box. And now I select the partition coefficient, and I will select only the ones who have values in the 17 and 80 percentiles. And this, now we filter the data to this range. We also see that for all of the filtered substances, we have partition coefficient in these two columns. They're also in other columns, but we are not doing exclusive search. This, from our point of view, this offers a way to visually see or filter the substances with similar property ranges. And of course, we could you could use, and this is also combined with the free text search at the top. We could select more than one such properties here. We can, of course, we can select everything, or we can select, for example, a different property. This is vapor pressure. See where they are, or not Fisken property. We can select, for example, acute toxicity, and if there is a data in a desired range, then this is a quick way to filter the data. Okay. Please don't forget to answer in the form whether you understand the user interface and what do you think about it. this will be, this is in fact the first presentation of this interface. We have lots of online training resources for the other interfaces in AMBIT, but this one is very new and is for the first time presented now. So certainly there are things to be improved. And then what I would like to go of, so this is what we have done now, is to see which properties, which columns corresponds to which percentiles. We have the proper ranges in the metadata columns, and if we really like to go deep, we can compare with the metadata, and of course we can compare with, we can go to the details of the compound of the substance and explore the actual data. Now I have shown this filtering by properties and showing that only filtered substances appear. Of course, we can modify all of this and have another query. So you're very much welcome to play with the queries and don't forget to tell our feedback. Finally, I would like to demonstrate the substance similarity search. We have on this page specifically, there are two similarity search options for substance, for all substance in the database, by set of selected properties in one go and by structure from the other side. So the set of properties visible in the list on the metadata as well. In principle, we plan to have different sets and allow you to choose through them. Technically, both properties and structure similarity search based on vector embedding, which are high-dimensional vectors. And they are derived by different optimization algorithms, which have something to do with deep learning, but not the optimization methods, which we'll explain in a paper which is being prepared. This approach, so these are not fingerprints, this is not Tanimoto. This approach allows us to have structure search for all types of substances, including UVCB and multi-constituent. Well, if there's nothing in the composition of UVCB, that's not really possible. But if there's at least one structure, this is possible. And also, if there's any kind of properties for the UVCB and non-determined structure substances, we can certainly do a property search by this method. So how do you do this? Is the last column of the result table, you'll find two links, property and structure. Clicking on find similar property link, you'll find substances similar by property. And clicking on the other link, you'll find substances similar to chemical structure. So let's start by similarity by structure. This is an easy interface to search for similar structure for the substance which is listed in the results table. We have, of course, classic similarity searches where you could draw the your structure and you could go to the compound page in this very site and explore this. But as they're rather standard and have been explained many times, I would like to focus here. So we are going to search for structure here. Okay, I'll go for the example which is in the guides. So we are going to search for this reaction mass of perfluoro substances and UVCB1, and we go for the structure. And here is the list of the similar substance to our query one. So you see the first, our query one is first and first hit, and we have the similarity distance. We're using cosine distance in this case. This is written in the left in the description. Okay, this may not be optimal, but for now it's like this. And we have substance types which are UVCB, multi-constituent, some monoconstituent down the list. They all seem to be perfluoro substances. Similarly, if you click on the property link, we'll find substances which considered substance similar to the query one by our method using these high-dimensional vectors. And now you see we are getting completely different structures, completely different substances, which you might not consider similar at all. This is how our method positioned the vectors. And this could just give you thinking of why these structures, these substances are considered similar. Again, we could explore further down different clicking on the property or the structure substance will work for any substance in the list. So you're free to explore. Moreover, you're welcome to explore. And don't forget to provide feedback. So these are the planet exercises for this new page. I would like to take questions now, and we might go to other pages of AMBIT 3. But since this is a new one, I would like to take questions now.
Okay, thank you, Nina. I will stop recording now.